Hi, I'm Shellie Geigle with J&S Hobbies and Crafts, and thanks for stopping by to check out this tutorial on hand making flowers, shaping them, inking them, and adding a little pizzazz to them to really make them pop. I'll be creating 3 of my most favorite flowers. I am going to be using the Heartfelt Creations dies and coordinating stamps. However, you don't have to do that. If you already have your die cuts ready to go, you can use the same techniques and come up pretty much with the same flower. Some of you don't have die cutting machines and you're used to stenciling. Well, you can stencil your flowers, cut them out, and shape them and ink them. Now, there are some people that don't like die cutting machines. They don't like taking the time to cut them out. Not a big deal, and you're not going to be left out in the cold in this tutorial, because you can buy, and you probably are at this time, the store-bought die cut flowers. These are by Prima, and there's like a variety in here. I think they said there was like 72 flowers in here. However, I've counted over 150. And then the white ones too, where you can actually ink them to the color that you want. So we'll go ahead and go over some fun little techniques with that. And so let's get going. So here's some flowers that I have done as examples of different ways that you can experiment and do yours. I think I said before that I picked out 3 flowers that I was going to show you how I made, and I'm going to grab one here. None of the leaves are glued down yet. This particular one is just beautiful, and as you can see, I'm going to flip it around here so you can see. Bring it up a little closer. This is one of my favorites, and I create this all the time. And it's not a hard process. And this particular one was actually made with the Heartfelt Creations classic sunflower and the matching stamp set to it. Now, one thing about dies when you go to purchase them is don't let the names fool you, because this flower wasn't, of course, just for sunflower. As you can see, you can create a variety of different flowers with just one die, just by changing how you shape it and inking or spray inking and the centers. This is one of my favorites, and this flower is the second one I'm going to show you how I made, and I'm going to bring that up closer so you can see there. But as you can tell, the tips are just beautiful. They're very shiny, they're glossy, and there are 3 inks actually that were used. One to stamp, of course, the flower image, and the other 2 was raisin and butterscotch that I blended together to get this really pretty color. Now I'm going to flip it around so you can see how that kind of looks. And this flower was actually created, one of my favorite dies, with the Heartfelt Creations Tattered Blossoms and the matching stamp. And you can create just a wide variety of different flowers with this one die and stamp. For instance, this one was made where I curled it up. And there's a few others in here I'm looking around for. This one. And this one's kind of unique and different. It's a very pale color, but the tips are a little darker, and then some glossy accents to it. Okay. And then one of my all-time favorites, it has to be my favorite, is this Ariana Blooms die and the matching stamp. This one, I mean, you can just, the sky's the limit on what you can create. And today we're going to create this flower. However, we're not going to emboss it with the frosting and all that. If you want to learn to emboss and make that frosty look, bring it up closer, You can check out my other tutorial on heat embossing, and I have some flowers in there that I showed. But this one we are going to recreate the shape, and we'll do it in a cranberry color. And this flower, you can actually, that dye, you can actually make roses. You can, other ways to do it is like this and have a pretty center in it. This one was only made with 2 petals. And this one's really cute too. I like that. I'm always into trying to create some sort of new flower and give different looks. This one was created. Now this one I have to bring up. It was embossed. This is actually one of my Frankenstein flowers. Sometimes when I'm creating and it doesn't come out right, they're called Frankenstein flowers, where I don't throw them away. They may never make it to be the spotlight flower on my album. However, they're great for filler flowers. So let's go ahead and get started. And the leaves that I've done here, which make great accents, and I think you could see the lines in it and whatnot, but that was also created with the dye, the Heartfelt Creations classic leaf, and then the stamps that go with it. So let's go ahead. I wanted to create this one first, and it's real simple and easy. I am going to go ahead and clear away all this stuff so that we can get on with making those 3 flowers, and then we'll go ahead and explore a little bit with the Prima pre-cut dies that you buy at the store. Okay, so I'm using the McGill tool set here. It's a really good set. I've tried the Martha Stewart one. I wasn't impressed with that set, but this set is pretty good. So we're just going to grab a couple tools that we'll be using. With this particular flower, I first stamped the image using Ranger's espresso. Okay. And I'm going to use, it's by Ranger again. Most of my inks I use, I like Ranger. The ink lasts a long time. They're great colors, and for the price I pay for it, it seems to just last a long time, and just nice colors. So this is current. And I'm also going to be, if some of you already know what this is, it's Wink Stella, and this is the clear. And all this is going to give that shiny shimmer to the petals. So first things first, I'm going to show you how I ink this. All I do is I just pull back a petal, and I go, first thing I do is go around dark around the edges, like so. And I do this with the beginning of a lot of my flowers. So I'm just going to get this done like this. And I got way too much ink on my dauber. That's okay, it's not going to do much. And if you notice, I am getting darker at the tips. Bring that up. Maybe you can see. And I just kind of keep doing that. Okay. The next thing that I do is I go dark, and I don't, even though we're not going to see some of these, I just do it. Okay, and then I just softly do the color, shading in a little bit. Okay, I am going to add the Wink Stella, and all I do there is just cover the leaves. Okay, so if you have this die, I am going to tell you how many petals we're going to do. We need 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. All right, that's what I thought. Okay, so I've already did the rest of these. Okay, so I'm going to need 2 of the large. I'm going to use 3 of the large. Did I do 3? No, one of them should not be in there. The next size. So it looks like I'm doing 2 of each on this particular flower. And then when you get down to the smaller, you just have 1 of the very small and then 1 of this size. Okay, so all I have to do, I've done a lot of the work, so I won't stand here and bore you to tears. I am going to just go over the leaves now with this. Hoping that the shimmer shows up in the video for you. I think I got them all. Yep, I think I do. Okay. When I was inking these, when I get to, it's about this, the second size down, these I don't do the back, but because these are going to be curled up, you don't want the white to show. And I do these all on white cardstock or white bond paper, whatever I can get my hands on. I do the tips on the back, like so, all the way down to the smaller ones, like so. Okay. So let's go ahead and get our tool and our glue. And all I'm going to do here is just, and I'm just going to use the larger one. And you can go back and forth like this and just drag it in. So you got that. All I do there is just go around the center. It's pretty easy. And on this next size, I'm going to do the same thing. Hope you can see that. I think I'm going to bring this in closer if I can figure it out. There. And all again I'm doing is just rubbing back and forth, dragging them in, and going around like so. Okay. And if your glue clogs on you because you've left the tip off for a while, oh, there it goes. Just put a little glue in there. And I'm going to put them like this. I'm not going to go directly over. I'm just going to try and layer it like so. Okay. So there's that. Now the next one is the next size. And all I'm going to do for that is just grab it at the tip, roll it in. Okay. do it again. Okay, and now I'm on the next size. I'm just going to roll it in. And you're going to keep doing this until you start getting down in here. It's a very simple flower. To create. The next size here. Roll it in. And these are going to get rolled in tighter. And what I'm going to do, because as it gets smaller and smaller, it's going to take more space and get harder to get in there. So I'm going to work with it like this, and then place my center in there. I'm done with this part. Whoops. And I'm changing, I was using the largest size here, which is the 8mm. I'm going to go down to the 3mm now. And by golly, I forgot to ink the back. Make this real simple. There. These tools are really handy because not only do they shape them, but they help you with kind of getting things in where they need to be and pressing down for you. And then the final piece just goes right in there. Get that center. Alright, so for the middle on this, what I used was the Geigle, the gold. Real simple. All you do is, and you can build it up or you can be shallow with it in there. And I'm just going to put a layer of glue in there. Now, all I'm going to do is just pour it on in there. And I'm going to let the glue dry, and then what I'll do is I'll pour out the excess. But there is our flower. And that's how that one is made. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and work with the Ariana Blooms die. And like I said before, if you don't have these dies, if you have a flower shape already at home that's similar, well, you're going to get a similar flower. Okay, so I already did these, but I'm going to show you. It's kind of the same process. I'm going to use cranberry on this, using some of my favorite colors here. And it's the same pretty much thing, just kind of go around. If you can get a little darker around the edges, great. And then I'll just go back and fill it in the rest when I'm done going around the edges here. So all I'm doing here is just going back to give it some color. Now on this flower, what I did add, if you notice, it looks sparkly and shiny. I don't know if you could see that very well. See the shimmer on it? I'll show you what I did to get that. Once again, I used the Winka Stella. And that gives me that shimmery look. But then I also used what's called glossy accents. And all I did, and I probably clogged because I left the lid off too long. And all I did with this is go and put some dots on here, and then I spread it around. So hopefully I've got it unclogged. Oops, I got it unclogged. So I'm just going to pour some out on there. And I just use a brush sometimes to get this spread out. And I got way too much. That's okay. It's just as well just using my fingers here. Okay. This one is so simple. I'm going to let this one dry for just a moment. Start with one that's already dry. A lot of people too, what they do is they spritz their flowers with just to dampen it a little bit with water. I do that too sometimes. We're going to do dry today like I've been doing. It holds up, it keeps its form. So all I'm doing is going around the edges here like so. And then I'm just going to pull it in. And these are just real basic techniques. Flip it over and go in the center. I'll do this one that's still a little wet last. Again, I'm just going back and forth. I think you can see that. And I'm using the 8mm side and then pulling in. Back and forth, pull in. I'm going to switch on down to the 3mm. You can use whatever size you want. It's just easier for me to get in there. If you tear a petal off, just glue it back on. I haven't done it. Sometimes it happens, rarely, but it happens. Okay, whoops, I've got two stuck together here. That's okay. Nobody's going to see it anyway. I'll use that. All right. Now for this, I'm just going to use the tip and move it in like so. I am going to flip it back around and just touch right at the tips. Okay. Now in this one I used some larger petals and stuff. That's okay, we're still going to get the same effect here. This is still a little wet, so which is fine. This actually has the glossy accents on it that is a medium, so it's not going to curl up as well for me. I'll have to, and it's going to do that. That's okay. I've got another one. As you notice, when I'm pushing down, I'm using the end of the stylus, the bigger one, to kind of smush it down. Now I had to redo this one, of course. I'm going to add the glossy accents right after I'm done here because it wasn't dry, and of course, since it's a medium, it's going to be sticky. It's not sticky after it dries, so. And I'm just pushing down like so. So it flares up, as you can see. And I'm just going to layer that right in there.
I'm going to push down so it all goes up like so. Don't even need these little ones. Okay, so I got one more to go. So I'm going to push down and kind of twist to get that. And then I'm just going to go ahead and maneuver my buds, whatever, right in there. And we're done. Now if I wanted to, I can spread these apart and add a middle like I did with the blue one. And same thing, you can use this, you can use glitter glue, stickles, anything in there, a pearl. And this will look really nice once it's accented with the greenery. All right. Oh good, I got two little ones. Squirrel. Okay, so I've got two little ones here. And this particular one, all I'd have to do is put a little pearl in or do like I was going to do with the other, so, and that's done too. Alright, last but not least is this flower. This one is simple. It doesn't look like it's simple with all the texture to it and everything, but it really is. And I stamped the image, the Tattered Blossoms image, of course, with the espresso. Okay, and there were two colors that I used to achieve this, and I am going to grab them. One is raisin, and one is butterscotch. And all I'm going to do here is, well actually, that's incorrect. So I smear. I want to start with the butterscotch so that I don't get the raisin in the ink pad with that, because it happens sometimes. I'm just going to go ahead, and you can go lighter or darker. I'm doing this just a hair darker than this one to give it a more. But if I was to do real light with this, you would get the colors there. So. And you don't have to be real precise with something like that. I went around the edges like that. And then I just kind of lightly went like that. Just kind of shading it a little bit. Making sure my tips are dark, but in the end here it is not. Okay. Hopefully my head is not getting in the way of the camera this time. I've got a new tripod. My other one snapped on me, and this one seems to be a little better quality. Hopefully it will keep from bobbing down. Okay. Okay, as you can see with this, there's a crease in the middle and kind of a pinch at the end. It's a real easy technique, and I'm actually 3mm ought to do work. So I'm just gonna flip, and when I did these, I actually did 2 large, 2 of the next size. So we got about 2 of each there, other than the smallest one I'm not using. So, and when I got to the next size down, this is where I just lightly blobbed some color on the back, because when they start poking up, you are going to see the underside. So we will start with the darkest one. I just take it right here, and this is 3mm. I take it at the tip and just crease it all the way down and pull it in. Okay. So what you have here is already a crease, and all I do is end up just pinching. Just helping the crease and pinching. So that's what I have. Okay. Then all I do is go around in a circle. We'll go ahead and do it again, and then we'll go ahead and do it to all of them. Okay, and then what I do is just kind of give it a little. And I'm just kind of pressing in the center there. And I'm going to do the same thing with this one, is I'm going to go ahead and crease it down. Now on the other petals, like I said, you're going to want to put a little bit of color on the back. Okay, so I've got all my petals ready to go here. We're going to jump on the next size here. And just put a little bit of glue. And layer that flower in. And push down. And then our last flower. If you want yours even fuller, you can add more petals. But for me, this is just fun. And there it is. Now, the glossy accents will go on the tips, but I did put on here, and I did it after the fact, is I added the Wink of Stella. And sometimes all I do is just grab the tip, so I'm not wasting for the whole flower. Because on this one, you're only seeing parts of the tips here. And I just kind of go around. And you'll see a dull color all of a sudden look totally different and shiny. I need to pinch that. Okay. I love this Wink of Stella. It really does a lot for my flowers. It really adds that shine. And for the final bit, for those tips, all I did was hit the tips with this. And it probably has clogged again. Do not leave the cap off of, if you have glossy accents or get it, do not leave the cap off for a long period of time, because right at the nozzle what happens is it's a medium, so it's going to get clogged, just like your glue does if you leave the lid off too long. Okay. So all I'm going to do here is just hit the tips. And after it dries, it's going to dry clear. And it will give that same effect. And I just kind of work my way around the flower. Now when this dries, it's going to give the same effect as this, where the tips look extra shiny. So those are the 3 flowers I wanted to show you using some die cuts, and showing you how I ink around to get some of the looks that I do on these flowers. I've always had good luck using butterscotch as the yellowing ink, and and raisin's always been a very pretty color, cranberry and currant. And you can blend in the butterscotch really well with those and get just a beautiful effect. So now let's move on to what to do with these. There are a lot of different things you can do with either the white die cut flowers. In the tubes, you might buy them for the white. A lot of these were white. This one started white. This one, this one, this one, and this one. They all started off white. These came from this was white. And then the rest, that the blue here and that came from this. Let's start with the white. If you're exploring how to maybe dress some of these up, there are a lot of different ways that you can. Okay, the Wink of Stella is great because it gives it a shimmery effect. I'm not sure if you can see it on this particular colored one. And also the glitter glues or sparkles or stickles, they work great too. So I'm going to pull a couple out, and I'm just going to fly by the seat of my pants here and create something using the inks. Let's take a look what we got in here. And if you're really not into the ink pads and stuff, a great way to color these too is with the spray inks. And matter of fact, I think I will show you a little bit of that. So I'm just going to grab some petals here, some white ones. And also with some of these white ones, I don't know if you know this or not, you can make a rose out of by piling them up together. There's one, and I think that. So we'll just grab a couple here, a couple different ways to use the white ones if you're wanting to add some color. I think I'm going to use a light juniper ink. And these are the white ones. They're, if you can tell, they're already kind of embossed, and they're already kind of, the leaves are buckled and shaped for you. And if I just run this over, I'm going to get a nice stripe over my leaves. I think that you can see this. I'll pull it up closer in a moment just in case you can't. And this juniper color is really pretty. It's really light. I'm just going to grab some edges here. And then the other one, where I'm going to show you spray inks, how you can get a overall even color like I did with this really pretty flower. And that was white. I wanted a corally color, so. Okay. Now I'm going to use the 6mm on this. Hopefully you can see. I was going to bring it up to the camera so you can see a little better. Hoping you can see the color. I've been having issues with some of the lighting here, but it does have a very light striped color. I'm going to start off with the biggest petal and just kind of push it in a little bit. And I'm going to grab a little glue. And I'm just going to lay this one right in there and push down. And the same thing for this one. And I'm going to twist. Okay, kind of leafy there. Now, I like the shimmery effect on my flowers, so I'm just going to go ahead and hit this with a little bit of this Wink Stella. And I probably should have used a brighter color so you can really see. And then if my, I'm not going to worry about the flower too much here. So all I'm going to do is go like this and put it back up. And then we have a pretty little flower. Spray inks. Now I'm going to use a couple colors here that are a little brighter. I think that you'll be able to see in this lighting. And then I'm going to get my tray out. Okay, so I got my tray out that I usually use so that the spray doesn't go all over the place. And I've got these flowers. I kind of want a coral effect, so I'm using kind of a yellow. Whoops. And then I kind of have a pink color to go on top. Okay. And this has a shimmer in it, which is really nice because it gives it a sparkly effect. And I'm going to pull those right on out of there. Set that aside. I'm just going to blot those a little bit there. Get the excess off. All right. Now these are still damp. Normally what I would do is wait for them to dry a little more, but we're going to go ahead and try to do this. I'm going to place a little bit of glue in there. And once this dries, it's going to dry hard, so it's not going to be flimsy. And I'm just going to pull that in a little bit. Yeah, it does need to be a little bit drier, I'm afraid. If it was drier, once I pushed down like that, the flower would stay up. Okay, it is still just a bit wet to do that. So I think what I'm going to do is take a quick break, and we'll come back to this flower after it's dried a bit. And then we can go ahead and push down a little more. So I think it's dry enough now. It's still quite damp, but I think it is to give us those lift that I'm looking for. Yeah, I think that's just fine. The center. Once you get your flower the way you want it, and you can see right here, and I'm also going to turn it for you. Whoops. So you can see the center. All I'm going to do here is plop some glue right here in the center. Now, I could have used the glitter glue, however, I am going to use some of this Geigle glitz, and this is orange. And again, all I'm going to do there is put it in the center. And it's still wet yet, and then we'll have to dry the glue and stuff, but as you can see, and with this particular one, once it dried and I poured out the extra in here, I would probably glob another piece of glue on top and build it up a little bit more. And my fingers are stained with ink. That aside. Now I'm getting to the fun ones, the real fun ones. This is the Prima flower pack, and it's 1.2 ounces of packed flowers. Now, I found that when I open this, there's well more than 72. There's more like 100, more like 172. There is a ton in here. But when I was picking through this and having fun trying to find some different things, a lot of them are embossed. You'll find leaves. I found a couple butterflies. Really neat. You know, here's a leaf all ready to go. You know, me, I'd just take my Wink of Stella on that one for sure and give it a little shimmer. A lot of these, since they're already colored for you, you don't have to do much, you know. I'm looking in here for a real good one to show you. Oh, which one do I want? They're all so pretty. I'm just going to grab this one really quick. It's a beige color. I'm going to stick some Wink of Stella. As you can see, I'm not sure if you can or not, but it's pretty dull over here. But once I start putting that Wink of Stella on there, it starts to shimmer up these flowers so that they really sparkle. And this is just one way that you can dress them up. So I've got some Wink of Stella on there. I saw a flower in here earlier, but there's so many. But now I can't find. Here's a purple one. Ooh, that's pretty. And this has the embossing on it. I'm going to stick some of this on here to accent it. Now another way that you can dress these up, okay, is to add the stickles, the glitter glue on it. There's a whole bunch of different ones to choose from. And even the cheap little glitter glue things work great. I'll show you. Take this flower and put this aside. This one's probably, whoops, about spent. And all I would do with that, come around the edges. And I have a flower now that looks like it's got a ton of blink on it. You see that? Now, what would look cute in the center? Anything. This particular one, I'm just going to put a little bit of this and let it dry. And perhaps if I moved it, you could see it. And all I did was use the stickles in the center there. And this leaf is quite big for this flower, but you get the general idea. So those are some ways that you can dress up these flowers, and of course buttons and different things. On this particular one, I liked kind of the striped effect of the blue, and I ended up adding a purpley color on the tips and stuff, and I thought that came out really cute. And then I just used some pearls in the center for that one. And you can just do a lot of different things. This one was the white flower. What you see in here is actually part of the Ariana Blooms die. As you can see on the die, it also doesn't just come with the flowers, it comes with these middle pieces. And with those middle pieces, I layered them in and I made this really pretty flower. And then I went around with some of the stickles and glitter glue to go around there. So those are some fun ways to dress up your flowers, the pre-made. Now my husband, he mentioned something to me, and he said, you know, since you're showing some of these die cuts and the stamps that you use to create the flowers, a lot of people still may not have the die cutting machine because either they're intimidated by it, they don't know what to buy, or they just don't know how the two work together. So if you would like to stick around and see that really quick, I will show you how easy that is. So this is a really easy process how this works together. And I'm going to go ahead and take my stamp out. I'm not going to use the acrylic block. I always just kind of done it like this. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ink up my stamp with what I want. Make sure I get it good. Oh, I got it pretty darn good, I think. Okay. Move it right here. I'm just going to plop that down there. There's my image. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is grab my die. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and slap that down. I need my cutting pad. It's very well loved, as you can tell. And I do stick a little piece of tape off here so it does not slide. And I just line it right up with the die. It makes it so easy. I just put my plate over, and now I'm just going to run it right through. And you can hear the paper cutting, cracking, and that's all normal. Okay, I'm going to move my machine over to the side. And I am going to make sure that my cut went through, which of course it did. This is a very easy die. It's not an intricate one to where you have to make another pass or so. And what I do, just pop it right out. And there you have it. There are your die cuts lined up with your stamp. And just peel this right on off, and you're done. So I want to thank you all for viewing this tutorial. If you have any questions, you can always message me. You can find me on Facebook, social media site. You can do a search for Designs by Shellie or Jana's Hobbies and Crafts. There are links under this tutorial for the hobby store in case you'd like to buy some of these supplies. Perhaps you like one of the dies I use that you can't live without. And you'll find great prices and low shipping. So thank you, and have a great time creating your flowers.